Istanbul, formerly known as Constantinople, is the largest city in Turkey, serving as the country's economic, cultural and historic hub. The city straddles the Bosporus Strait, lying in both Europe and Asia, and has a population of over 15 million residents, comprising 19% of the population of Turkey. Istanbul is the most populous European city and the world's 15th largest city. The city was founded as Byzantium in the 7th century BCE by Greek settlers from Megara. In 330 CE, the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great made it his imperial capital, renaming it first New Rome, and then Constantinople after himself. Istanbul is located in northwestern Turkey, and straddles the strait Bosporus, which provides the only passage from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean, via the Sea of Marmara. Historically, the city has been ideally situated for trade and defense. The confluence of the Sea of Marmara, the Bosphorus, and the Golden Horn provides both ideal defenses against enemy attack and a natural toll gate. Several picturesque islands Bayakata, Habiliata, Burgazada, K1NAL1Ada, and 5 smaller islands are part of the city. Istanbul's shoreline has grown beyond its natural limits. Large sections of Kurdistan sit on areas of landfills, increasing the total area of the city to 5,343 square kilometers. Despite the myth that 7 hills make up the city, there are, in fact, more than 50 hills within the city limits. Istanbul's tallest hill, Ados, is 537 meters high. The nearby North Anatolian Fault is responsible for much earthquake activity, although it doesn't physically pass through the city itself. The fault caused the earthquakes in 1766 and 1894. The threat of major earthquakes plays a large role in the city's infrastructure development, with over 500,000 vulnerable buildings demolished and replaced since 2012. The city has repeatedly upgraded its building codes, most recently in 2018, requiring retrofits for older buildings and higher engineering standards for new construction. The city grew in size and influence, eventually becoming a beacon of the Silk Road and one of the most important cities in history. The city served as an imperial capital for almost 1600 years. During the Roman Byzantine, 330–1204, Latin, 1204–1261, Late Byzantine, 1261–1453, and Ottoman, 1453–1922, empires. The city played a key role in the advancement of Christianity during Roman Byzantine times, hosting 4 on the Asian side of the first 7 ecumenical councils, before its transformation to an Islamic stronghold, following the fall of Constantinople in 1453, see especially after becoming the seat of the Ottoman Caliphate in 1517. In 1923, after the Turkish War of Independence, Ankara replaced the city as the capital of the newly formed Republic of Turkey. In 1930, the city's name was officially changed to Istanbul, the Turkish rendering of the appellation Greek speakers used since the 11th century to colloquially refer to the city. Over 13.4 million foreign visitors came to Istanbul, 8 years after it was named European Capital of Culture, making it the world's 8th most visited city. Istanbul is home to several UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and hosts the headquarters of numerous Turkish companies, accounting for more than 30% of the country's economy. Istanbul has a borderline Mediterranean climate, humid subtropical climate, and oceanic climate under both classifications. It experiences cool winters with frequent precipitation, and warm to hot moderately dry summers. Spring and fall are usually mild, with varying conditions dependent on wind direction. Istanbul's weather is strongly influenced by the Sea of Marmara to the south, and the Black Sea to the north. This moderates temperature swings and produces a mild temperate climate with low diurnal temperature variation. Consequently, Istanbul's temperatures almost always oscillate between 5 degrees centigrade and 32 degrees centigrade, and most of the city does not experience temperatures above 30 degrees centigrade for more than 14 days a year. Another effect of Istanbul's maritime position is its persistently high dew points, near saturation morning humidity, and frequent fog, which also limits Istanbul's sunshine hours to levels closer to Western Europe. Because of its hilly topography and maritime influences, Istanbul exhibits a multitude of distinct microclimates. Within the city, rainfall varies widely owing to the rain shadow of the hills in Istanbul, from around 600 mm on the southern fringe of Florya to 1,200 mm on the northern fringe of Bosporus. According to a study, an average of more than 60 centimeters of snow falls every year in the area of the airport, making Istanbul the snowiest major city in the Mediterranean basin, despite not having the cold winters typical of snowy cities. Snowfall varies widely between years in different areas of the city, with districts facing north more prone to receive snow than southerly ones. This is largely caused by lake effect snow, which forms when cold Arctic maritime or polar continental air, originating respectively from the North Polar Siberia, develops into moist and unstable air that ascends to form snow squalls along the lee shores of the Black Sea, upon contact with the relatively warm water. These snow squalls are heavy snow bands and occasionally thundersnows, with accumulation rates approaching 5–8 centimeters per hour. Istanbul does not have a primary urban park, but it has several green areas. Gülhane Park and Y1LD1Z Park were originally included within the grounds of two of Istanbul's palaces, Topkap1 Palace and Y1LD1Z Palace, but they were repurposed as public parks in the early decades of the Turkish Republic. Another park, Fethipa Karusu, is on a hillside adjacent to the Bosporus Bridge in Anatolia, opposite Y1LD1Z Palace in Europe. Along the European side, and close to the Fatih Sultan Mehmet Bridge is Emirgan Park, which was known as the Kayparades during the Byzantine period. In the Ottoman period, it was first granted to Nyanc I Feridun Ahmet Bey in the 16th century, before being granted by Sultan Murad IV to the Safavid Emir Gunhan in the 17th century, hence the name Emirgan. The 47-hectare park was later owned by Khedive Ismail Pasha of Ottoman Egypt and Sudan in the 19th century. Emirgan Park is known for its diversity of plants, and an annual tulip festival is held there since 2005. Popular during the summer among Istanbulites is Belgrade Forest, spreading across 5,500 hectares at the northern edge of the city. The forest originally supplied water to the city, and remnants of reservoirs used during Byzantine and Ottoman times survive. Istanbul was historically known as a cultural hub, but its cultural scene stagnated after the Turkish Republic shifted its focus toward Ankara. The new national government established programs that served to orient Turks toward musical traditions, especially those originating in Europe, but musical institutions and visits by foreign classical artists were primarily centered in the new capital. Much of Turkey's cultural scene had its roots in Istanbul, and by the 1980s and 1990s, Istanbul re-emerged globally as a city whose cultural significance is not solely based on its past glory. By the end of the 19th century, Istanbul had established itself as a regional artistic center, with Turkish, European, and Middle Eastern artists flocking to the city. When additional universities and art journals were founded in Istanbul during the 1980s, artists formerly based in Ankara moved in. The city has numerous shopping centers, from the historic to the modern. Istanbul also has an active nightlife and historic taverns, a signature characteristic of the city for centuries, if not millennia. Istanbul is known for its historic seafood restaurants. Many of the city's most popular and upscale seafood restaurants line the shores of the Bosphorus. Kumkap1 along the Sea of Marmara has a pedestrian zone that hosts around 50 fish restaurants. Istanbul is also famous for sophisticated and elaborately cooked dishes of the Ottoman cuisine. Following the influx of immigrants from southeastern and eastern Turkey, which began in the 1960s, the city's foodscape has drastically changed by the end of the century, with influences of Middle Eastern cuisine such as kebab taking an important place in the food scene. As with virtually every part of the world, climate change is causing more heat waves, droughts, storms, and flooding in Istanbul. Istanbul is a large and rapidly expanding city. Its urban heat island has been intensifying the effects of climate change. Xeriscaping of green spaces has been suggested, and Istanbul has a climate change action plan. As a result of Istanbul's exponential growth in the 20th century, a significant portion of the city is composed of built overnight, referring to illegally constructed squatter buildings. At present, some Gecekondu areas are being gradually demolished and replaced by modern mass housing compounds. Moreover, large-scale gentrification and urban renewal projects have been taking place, such as the one in Tarlabaşı 1. Some of these projects, like the one in Sulikul, have faced criticism. The Turkish government also has ambitious plans for an expansion of the city west and northwards on the European side, in conjunction with the new Istanbul airport, which opened in 2019. The new parts of the city will include 4 different settlements with specified urban functions, housing 1.5 million people.